Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, let's talk about some meteorological eye candy here, some dangerous meteorological eye candy, not to make light of this at all. A significant tornado in southern Manitoba on Friday evening. We've been talking about the potential for strong storms in that area for several days, and that forecast verified, again in the form of this spectacular but strong and very dangerous tornado on Friday evening. A couple of fatalities and some injuries associated with that. You can see some bits of debris circulating in the debris cloud here at the base of the tornado. Again, those are structures, homes that were being impacted here. And something else, this tornado was very well exposed. You can see the entire funnel going up into the base of the thunderstorm, but also you can see the base of the storm here coming around behind the tornado, wrapping up here, and then kind of circulating it around. So what you're seeing is the updraft of that storm being wrapped around the mesocyclone. So if you're familiar with watching severe storms on the radar, and supercells in particular, you see that classic, thunderstorm shape here, and then you get the hook echo on the base of the storm, and your tornado is right there in the hook echo. That's what you're seeing right here. In the hook echo here, you're seeing the updraft of that storm being wrapped around the circulation, and this is a photo of that exact thing happening here in southern Manitoba. So a spectacular image. If I was out there chasing this thing, that would be hanging on my wall for a lifetime. That is a fantastic photograph of a spectacular, again, very dangerous tornado in southern Manitoba. Well, no severe weather to talk about today. We've got cooler air wrapping around the backside of that same storm system that just brought the severe weather to the region. All of the heat now being pushed off to the east as cooler air wraps in on the backside of this storm. Just like this, you can see the spiraling storm system right now making its way to the center of low pressure at the upper levels across northern Manitoba. But again, the circulation around that, warm and humid air pushing off to the east. Cooler air wrapping in on the backside, but we've got strong jet stream winds blasting across the Pacific, and we'll be developing another trough across the prairie by the time we get to midweek. The radar is quiet on Monday morning, and again, we're on the backside of this storm system. Here's the center of the upper level low across northern Manitoba. There's circulation doing something like that, but again, very strong winds coming across the Pacific into western Canada. So as I put this into motion, we're going to get a brief lull on the backside of this trough. On the backside, we often get sinking motion. That's why we've got quiet conditions, cooler conditions across the prairie. We'll bring in some subtle ridging here. Again, you can see kind of a subtle rise to the heights right there. Again, just slight ridging on the backside of trough number 1, and then here comes trough number 2 that's going to be swinging in as we get into the mid to late part of the week. So watch what happens here as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. Now we're seeing the first wave, those strong jet stream winds pushing in across the southern portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan. That's going to give us, again, the lift needed for showers and storms across the region as we get to midweek. This will continue then to move from west to east, pushing into Manitoba by the time we get to Thursday. And then we see another strong wave rotating around the base. You see this core of red. That's very strong wind speeds here. A jet of around 60 to 80 knots coming around the southern portion of British Columbia here. So this is a potent little wave that's going to make its way into the prairie here, rotating around the base of that trough then as we get into, again, look back up at the date here, Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, looking a bit unsettled as this trough pivots through the region. Then, of course, as the trough moves off, you can expect cooler conditions to be filtering into the region. So as we average out 500 millibar height and look at those in anomaly form over the next 5 days, so the coming work week, again, just keeping a trough across western Canada, across the prairie, and that is going to keep things on the cooler side overall as we head through the next 5 days. So we're looking at the next 5 days of temperatures on the left, anomalies, and then the 7-day precipitation forecast over on the right. So again, cooler conditions, not cold. Of course, we're in early August, and this is not a significant trough or anything like that, but certainly cooler than average in the west. Near average, maybe a couple warmer days here as you get off toward the east across southern Manitoba. And then as we talk about precipitation, driest across central and southern portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Drier, but not completely dry. We'll have opportunities for precipitation in the region. And then the wettest area across the ag belt is going to be across the southern half of Manitoba, but you can take that dry corridor and take it all the way back into northern portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan, again with those drier conditions as you head off to the south and to the west. So as we look at the forecast for instability, again, quiet as we are on the backside of that trough right now. So again, quiet conditions in the upper levels, quiet conditions down here in the lower levels as we keep a stable air mass in place. As we get into Wednesday, though, Wednesday afternoon and evening, as we start to bring this trough in from the west, the response at the surface is going to bring a... let's draw the area back on there. The response at the surface then will be southerly flow, drawing warm and unstable air back into the prairie as we get into first midday on Wednesday. This is when that first wave approaches, so perhaps talking about the risk of some strong storms from central Alberta back into central and southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba on Wednesday afternoon and evening. And then we'll keep this going as we get into Thursday afternoon and evening as well, and then maybe even as that next wave pivots around the backside on Friday. So more to talk about as we get into our Wednesday morning forecast, a potential, a quiet start to the week Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, perhaps looking at the chance for scattered storms once again across the prairie and maybe a risk of some severe storms as well. So as we'll take a look at the precipitation forecast, putting all of this together, here's the current trough, the one that brought the severe weather on Friday, taking its time getting out of here, rain north of the Ag Belt today. As we head through Tuesday, that system lifts off to the north, and we're going to start to get our next wave pushing in from the west. So rain across parts of British Columbia as we get into Tuesday. Maybe a strong storm or two in the high elevation areas moving off of the Front Range here in Calgary up toward Edmonton late in the day on Tuesday. But then the better chance for rain moves into the prairie as we get into Wednesday and then Thursday as the more powerful wave moves in. So late Wednesday into Wednesday night, maybe some strong storms across the southern border of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And then as we head into Thursday and Friday, the next wave pushes through, keeping that chance for scattered showers and storms across the entire prairie. So as we look at the probability of picking up a half an inch or 12.5 millimeters of precipitation through the work week, so between now and Friday evening, the European model on the left ensemble, the GFS ensemble here on the right. And again, you could pick out the pattern here. Where is it going to be the wettest? Where's the best chance for significant precipitation here? Again, a half an inch at least. Well, we'll look for the orange and the red shading where we've got better than a 60, 70, 80, 90% chance. And again, kind of from Calgary northeastward into areas north of the Ag Belt here, but then back to the south, kind of along the southern border of Saskatchewan and Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And then fairly high probabilities, especially as you look at the GFS here across much of the province of Manitoba. So the driest areas, good agreement on that between both models. Again, southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan on both of these models, much more on the dry side. Again, opportunities for scattered storms, but relatively low odds that we're going to see widespread measurable precipitation across that corridor. So we'll take a final look at temperature anomalies, the forecast then as we head through the week. Again, not cold because of the time of the year, and it's also not that significant of a trough. We're talking about 2 to 5 degrees cooler than average as we head through the rest of the week, with much of the cooler air back here across portions of southern Saskatchewan and Alberta as we head through the early part of the week. And again, I mentioned maybe even a little bit warmer than average at times across southern Manitoba, especially as our next system works its way in. Again, cooler air on the base of that trough. In advance of each area of low pressure, we should see warm air advection, and that'll draw a warm and unstable air mass back into at least eastern portions of the prairie as we get into mid to late week. Eventually, the trough clears the entire prairie as we get into the end of the week, and we'll see those cooler temperatures filtering in, shifting from west to east across the prairie, such that parts of southern Manitoba that maybe are a little bit warmer this week as we get into the weekend should be a few degrees cooler than average. So we'll finish with a look at your temperatures then. Calgary, you're going to be on the decline as we head into the middle part of the week, again with troughing becoming established across the region. High temperatures generally in the low 20s or near 20 degrees as we head through the week. Edmonton, very similar, bouncing around 18 to 20 degrees over the next 5 days. Saskatoon warming up a little bit, mid-20s for you. Upper 20s here in Regina, the warmest day on Wednesday again, with the potential for some strong storms on Wednesday afternoon and evening. Winnipeg, very similar, 27 for the high today and tomorrow. In advance of our next trough, we get warmer weather, 31 degrees on Wednesday, slowly falling into the weekend with chances for showers and storms, maybe even the chance for some severe weather once again, Wednesday through Friday. Have a great day, a wonderful start to your week, and I'll be back to talk with you again on Wednesday morning.